When did you start fighting and how did that get going?
It was kind of like a thing that happened by mistake, not something that I like sought out to do. Like, I want to be a UFC fighter. It was just something that kind of organically happened. Most people would be lying if they said that they weren't scared. There's a healthy fear about fighting that is necessary to get locked in there.
When someone has you in one of those positions where you feel like they're about to either put you to sleep or make you submit, what's going on for you in those moments?
Those are what we call OF moments. You're thinking, there's nothing I can do, I'm caught. Every time I called for the Ronda fight, it seemed that she would go a different route. I'm always more than willing to welcome her back into the division, and I would love a chance to fight Ronda.
You have hot sauce. I like that about you, Julianna. Hey family, it's Carlos Watson. You're gonna love this episode today. UFC fighting champion Julianna Peña is stopping by. She's throwing down on everything from how she grew up, anger management, love, all sorts of things. You don't wanna miss this conversation. One of the liveliest, most interesting people I've met in a long time. Here comes Julianna Peña. Hey Julianna.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Now what kind of fighters have glasses on? I'm loving this.
I have to see, like, I can't see, like, far away, I guess. But I mean, yes, I have to wear glasses. There's some really bad, sick, dangerous individuals that wear glasses that are fighters, just so you know.
Is that right? All right, now what happens though when you're in the ring? Like, do you have any issues with seeing and with blows coming at you and trying to miss things or no?
They're pretty strict, right? So like your eyes have to be like perfect to fight. And if they're off by a little bit, then they're not gonna let you fight. So if you have to wear contacts or something like that, then your chances of making it through your medicals actually lessen. And it's not that bad. I just, I can't read from far away, and it's a little blurry vision from far away. But up close, like in fighting range, I'm dialed in, I'm good.
Wait, now what were you like as a kid? Were you a good scrapper or not?
Yeah, I had no choice. I honestly had no choice. I was the baby of 4, and I come from a very large family, and we were always horsing around, and I took a tail end of a lot of beatings. So I was like, anytime I got to a family gathering, I was like ready to go. Like, I'm like, who wants some? Like, let's go, you know, like, because I knew that it was coming. Eventually it was coming. So I always had to be like on guard, ready to defend myself. And so that's kind of how I grew up.
Wait, so now when did you start fighting and how did that get going? Like, how did you get into fighting?
At 17, I was a know-it-all, and I was like, I got a job, I'm moving out, I'm blowing this popsicle stand. And I was a server at a bowling alley, and I'd get off at like 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning. And so I was working the graveyard at like 18, and I was like overweight. I needed to lose weight. And my sister was like, come join this women's cardio kickboxing class with me. I wasn't going to college at the time, and it was after high school. And that's when I joined my coach's women's cardio kickboxing class. And that's kind of how I got my start. It was just to lose some weight. But needless to say, I couldn't pay rent. I moved back in with mom and dad. And then I told them that I wanted to be a fighter, and they were like, heck no. So that's kind of how it all started.
Oh, right hand for Julianna. Oh, goodness. Julianna Peña. Julianna stunning with that left hand. This is what Julianna wants, guys. Oh. This is the type of fight she wants. Oh, my God. This is crazy. Oh, my God. She's doing exactly what she said she was going to do. She said she was going to go out there and take the fight to Amanda Nunes.
Now, did you love it from the very beginning? Like, as soon as you got into that kickboxing class, did you start to think, like, this is something that I love? Or did it take a while before you were like, I want to be a fighter?
It took a while. It took a while because I couldn't pay the dues at the gym. And so I was mopping the mats and, like, cleaning, vacuuming, like making sure that the gym was tidy because I couldn't pay the dues for membership. I was just in the women's cardio kickboxing class, and the coach was like, stay for MMA. And I was like, what's MMA? And then they're like, have you ever seen UFC fights? And I never had. So once I kind of started learning what MMA was, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting to fight by any means. But since I didn't pay dues, and since my coach was a promoter and had a local show at the little bowling alley area, he was like, you're fighting. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you can't pay dues. You got to contribute to the team you're fighting. And so when I took my first fight, I was like, I don't want to do this. Like I felt like I had to, you know, I felt like I was caught between a rock and a hard spot. And then even after my first fight, it was just a total blur. Like I swang for the fences for 3 rounds. Like the girl had owed me my lunch money from the 3rd grade, and just trying like taking literally every ounce of aggression that I had in my entire life, like everything that I've ever built up. And I just beat this girl for 3 rounds. I felt so bad. My dad got on his hands and his knees and he cried in my lap and he begged me to never do it again. And I was right there with him. I was like, yeah, for sure. We are never doing this again. And then I took another fight, and then so they kept calling me a fighter, but I was like, no, I'm not a fighter. Like this isn't, I just did it because I had to, you know, like I was caught between a rock and a hard spot. It wasn't until like later when I approached like the pro stage that I was like, I think I'm a fighter. We're doing this. Like, I think this is what I'm doing now. And so it was kind of like a thing that actually happened by mistake. Like it was not something that I like sought out to do. Like I want to be a UFC fighter. It was just something that kind of organically happened.
Hey, go back to Dad. So he literally, like, what made him like cry in your lap?
In Venezuelan culture, the little girls are like princesses. They raise them to be princesses. They raise them to be, you know, Miss Universes and stuff like that. So it's a complete opposite to have his baby daughter, you know, the baby of 4, go in there and get punched in the face. And he just didn't understand it. I didn't even truly understand it. And not to mention, they thought that, well, and at the time probably it was true, but they're like, he's using you. Like you got a 3XL t-shirt as like a winning prize. Like the winner gets a 3XL t-shirt. Like this is what you get. And they're like, can't you see this man is using you? What are you doing? You're not even getting paid. Like, are you crazy? You know, they would just couldn't understand it at all. Of course, they want me to go to college and get a degree and be like my sister. And, you know, they had plans for me, but I kind of derailed all of those, like, we're going this way. And they didn't understand. And I think it's difficult for any father, I think, to see their daughter getting punched in the face. And still to this day, I put him through the ringer. It really bothers me a little bit, because when I'm getting ready for the fights, I know how troubled he is. All these people that are around me that are very close to me go through these extreme emotions when I'm fighting. And it actually makes me feel bad. Like, I'm sorry that you almost had a heart attack because you're watching me fight. Like, it makes me feel bad. Like, I don't think he'll ever, you know, truly, fully ever be okay with the fact that he sees me, you know, fist fighting for a living.
Declaring the winner by submission due to a rear naked choke, and undisputed UFC Bantamweight Champion of the World.
So take me into the octagon for a minute. For someone who hasn't been in there, give me 2 or 3 things that the rest of us don't understand. What's something that unless you've been in it and unless you've done it, like, you won't get about being in the octagon?
One of the things that people don't understand, I think, is that there's more, there's levels, there's skills, there's things technically that you have to be on point with when you're inside the octagon. I think that most people would be lying if they said that they weren't scared. There's a healthy fear, though, about fighting that I think that is necessary to get locked in there.
Oh, good exchange here.
Once you are fighting, because you've not only won, you've lost. And when someone has you in one of those positions where you feel like they're about to either put you to sleep or about to make you submit, what happens? What's going on for you in those moments where someone's had you like that?
Those are what we call OF moments. And you're thinking, there's nothing I can do, I'm caught. It's a very horrible feeling. It's not a good feeling at all. In one case, I didn't even realize that I was caught as deep as I was. And I thought that I was actually in a superior position. And so when I heard myself gurgling, I couldn't understand why I was gurgling. And then the next thing I knew, I was waking up. I didn't tap. So the only thing that was going through my mind was just confusion, because I thought that I had the superior position. I thought that I was just about to like actually choke her. And then I was getting choked and I got put out unconscious. And so in those moments, you're just thinking, oh, F, you know, like, how did this happen type of situation where it's like, you can't reverse it. And it's almost like a disbelief. Like, did they really just catch me right now? Like, oh, heck no. You know, it's a heartbreaking type of a feeling.
There was a time when your girl Ronda Rousey, you know, she was the big thing. She was undefeated. It seemed like she was invincible. It kind of reminded me, I'm old enough to remember when Mike Tyson was fierce. And back in those days, everyone was like, don't even park your car because the fight's gonna be over.
Right.
And it felt like she had that kind of mystique around her. Back then, at the height of that, were you also intimidated by her? Did you also feel like if I was in the octagon with Ronda, like she would get me?
No, actually. And I was the only one who nobody would breathe her name other than Miesha Tate. And I was the only other one that was ready to fight her. In 2013, Dana White allowed women into the UFC, and that's when Ronda fought. But a few months later, at the same exact year and at the same time, is when he started the Ultimate Fighter show for women. So I got on that show and Ronda was the coach. Ronda walked into the promotion and Dana just gifted her a UFC belt. She didn't have to fight anyone for it. They literally just said, hey, welcome to this brand new division. Here's your belt, you know, and just gave her a belt. Then when she fought for it and defended it against Liz Carmouche, she won. She almost got choked, but she won the fight. So she only had to fight one person. I had to fight 4 people at the same time, 4 girls that were in the UFC, and I had to fight them all at one time. So when I came off of winning the Ultimate Fighter, Ronda had fought like once, maybe twice. I had fought 4 times. So I'm like, I'm the champ. I just came in when Dana opened up the door. I just won the hardest tournament in sports. I'm the champ. I want to fight Ronda Rousey. She's the champ. And so let's make this happen. So I had been calling to fight Ronda since 2013. And every time I won, I'd go back to say, I want to fight Ronda. And every time I won, I would come back and then say, I want to fight Ronda. Now, when I talked to Ronda after the Ultimate Fighter, she told me, you're going to give me a tougher fight than Miesha Tate could ever dream about, she said. But when that day comes, I'm still going to kick your ass. That's what she told me. And I told her, we'll see. And so every time I called for the Ronda fight, it seemed that she would go a different route. She would find a different tomato can. She would find a different can to crush in 10 seconds. And so there was so much frustration built up from me on my end because I kept calling for the fight and never getting it. And then I got injured. And then I'm seeing her fight these cans and demolishing them in less than 10 seconds.
Look at that! Ronda wants to make it happen quickly. Yeah, she gave There's the arm. She gave it. It's all over.
And I'm like, I can do that. I know I can put up a better fight than 10 seconds. Like, let me in there. And so when I came back from surgery and won again, I'm calling to fight Ronda. And by this time now, she's, you know, getting knocked out. She went and skipped the line. I was supposed to fight Amanda Nunes at UFC 200 because Ronda had got knocked out by Holly Holm. And Ronda got to cut the line in front of me, even though Amanda said I was next. And Ronda got to fight Amanda. She got knocked out a second time. And she never came back. And so I'm still trying to get that fight. I am still welcoming her with open arms to come and you know, I know as a competitor, you don't want to come off of 2 knockout losses and never come back. And that's how you know, cemented your legacy in the sport. You got to come back, you know? And so I am always more than willing to welcome her back into the division. And I would love a chance to fight Ronda. It's a dream matchup for me.
Talk about that for a minute. That's really interesting what you say, that if you're Ronda and you've got 2 knockout losses in a row, that you may not want to come back. Is it possible, though, that your psyche is broken, that your heart is broken, and that even though no one would want to end it that way, that you just can't pull yourself out of that? Like, is that possible, you think?
It's absolutely true. She had to go to counseling. I mean, this is a nightmare on Elm Street. She's literally like, her mindset is nobody has the right to beat me and no one deserves to beat me. That's what she thinks. That's what she believes. That's what she tells herself. And that's great. But she did lose. She did have to go to counseling. She did have to get mentally back on track, you know, and figure out a way to, you know, get back to normal life. And she got married, she had a baby, and she segued into the WWE. And, you know, I think that that's also great for her. She's making millions of dollars in the WWE. And she's really great at it, you know? And so I don't think that real fighting is something that she could handle again. I don't think that she could handle that. But as a real fighter, as a true fighter like me.
I mean, you have hot sauce. You have hot sauce. And I like that about you, Julianna. You are spitting hot sauce. I mean, you just all over her. You all over her. You said real fighting. Oh my goodness.
If she wants to come back, because I'm just thinking how I would feel.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to, be done with my career in fighting after 2 losses like that. I would want to make my name good again. So if she's thinking anything like I'm thinking, I'm still gunning for the fact that I think that she's going to come back. And when she does, I mean, this is not me crap talking. This is facts that have happened in my career. I'm just telling the truth of what has happened. And so the only person that would make sense for her to fight is me.
Julianna, I really like you and I really appreciate you. Like all of it. I appreciate your story. I can just tell how your mind moves. I appreciate all of that. What are you like in everyday life with your spouse, with your child, with your neighbors, with your friends? Quiet, loud, extrovert, introvert? What would I see if I hung out with you for a couple days?
I can be extremely introverted and I can be extremely extroverted. There's times I like to be friendly and I love to laugh. Laughing for me is one of my biggest things. I love laughing. But I would say I'm a very nice person. I'm very kind. I love spending time with my daughter. I love spending time with my family. And I think that aside from fighting, I'm a pretty chill person. I'm very easygoing. I'm very easy to deal with. I kind of go with the flow type of person, but I'm also not a doormat by any means. I'm not somebody that you can walk all over. I will stand my ground and I will fight if I feel it necessary to fight, but I don't like to fight. I have my introverted moments and I have my extroverted moments. And I think I know when to call on each side, depending on the situation and the scenario that I'm in. But I think, in my opinion, I'm like the coolest chick ever. I'm like super cool. I'm too cool.
All right, give me some love lessons here. What's the most interesting thing you've learned in this life about love?
I feel differently about it because I chose a profession, and I guess just the way that I am as a woman is very intimidating, I think, to a lot of men. It could be intimidating as in they think that I could beat them up, or it could be intimidating as the fact that they can't handle the fact that I make more money than them. They're intimidated. Men are intimidated by me. My mind right here where I stand is so focused on my career that I don't see love right now as an option for me. Right now, love is not in the works for me. I need to focus on my career. The times that I have been in love has been the times where my career plummeted. And so I think that it's a slippery slope and it'll happen when it happens. And when the time comes, the time will come. But I am so reserved in my own space of just needing to do what I needed to do. And that is 110% focused on me and my daughter and me and my career. And if it doesn't involve those two things, then I can't have it in my life. So basically I'm a horse, I'm a thoroughbred, and I have my blinders on and I'm not looking to the left, I'm not looking to the right. I'm just looking at my goals. And my goals right now is my daughter, and my goals are my career and being the champion. And so if it's not about that, then I don't have time for it, because it's just drama that I don't necessarily feel like has any space in my life right now.
All right, I'm gonna do rapid fire with you. You mind if we do rapid fire real quick?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but it sounds like fast.
Okay, that's your favorite movie of all time?
True Romance.
Oh, with Christian Slater?
Yeah, Christian Slater, yes.
3 words went through my mind endlessly. You're so cool. You're so cool. You're so cool.
Nice. Okay, most beautiful place you've ever been?
It's either gonna be Australia or Singapore.
Oh, I like both of those places. Okay, if you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, who'd you love to have dinner with?
Martha Stewart.
All right, so fast forward for me. We get together in 20 years, so it's 2042. What's gonna be true at that point? Where are we meeting? What's true? Paint the scene for me.
I have cemented my legacy in the UFC, and I am inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. I am a commentator for the UFC, and I have more children, and I'm married, and I am getting an award at the ESPN Awards for being a woman's pioneer in the UFC, and the sport has grown to 1 million, and I am recognized all over the world as being, the Yao Ming female version of UFC fighting.
I love that. And when they do the movie of your life, what's going to be the title of that movie?
Relentless.
Like that. I like that. I believe in that too. Hey, Julianna, I am rooting for you. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
You already are a great commentator. I love your use of words. You have to write a book.
I would love to. I got an interesting story, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And tell your pop, I'm sure he's proud already, but I can feel there's even more good things ahead. So good luck and good wishes to you.
Thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. This was a fun interview. Thank you so much.
Hey, hope you enjoyed Julianna Peña as much as I did. She threw me off at first with the glasses, but I loved all the stories. I love the colorful conversation. I love her energy and I love her journey. Wishing her all the best. Hope she stays a little romantic. Who knows what's up ahead? And I'm sure she's going to win a lot more belts, a lot more prizes. Hey, hope you're enjoying the show. Remember, every weekday, got something good for you. See you soon.